Call to Earth, in partnership with Rolex and their Perpetual Planet Initiative.
They are some of nature's most ferocious predators.
The first time I heard a snow leopard roar, it was just sheer wildness.
Now, their biggest threat is us. Shafkat Hussain has been working to protect snow leopards in his native Pakistan for over 20 years. An environmental anthropologist and conservationist, he is on a mission to help resolve human-wildlife conflict.
Human beings have really altered the very fabric of what we call nature. If we keep ignoring those beings and their needs, nature will strike back.
As our guest editor for this show, he has chosen 4 stories across the world of big cats under threat and the extraordinary people finding new ways for us to coexist before it's too late. I'm Bill Weir. This is Call to Earth, protecting big cats. Known as part of the Roof of the World, this region of northern Pakistan is home to 3 of the highest mountain ranges on Earth. It's a place our guest editor knows well.
When you go further, higher up or deeper into the heart of the mountains, there is a very good chance that a snow leopard might walk right in front of me.
Rolex Awards laureate Shafkat Hussain has been coming here for over 2 decades in search of an elusive predator. One that remains just out of reach.
In the last 25 years, I've never seen a snow leopard out in the wild.
Hussain is a professor of anthropology at Trinity College, Connecticut.
In the conservation world,
And he runs a snow leopard conservation project to help protect this vulnerable species.
the first time I heard a snow leopard roar, I still remember this roaring call. I mean, if anything, it was just sheer wildness. You're dealing with an animal that is very, very elusive, and its habitat is very difficult to study. Many times I have told my colleagues when we are setting up camera traps or doing surveys that I'm sure that a snow leopard is watching me from somewhere up there, but I am unable to spot it. And that's because it's so well adapted to its habitat.
Adaptation also means finding ways to connect.
The snow leopards are incessant communicators. I wonder what they would do if they had, all this new social media technology, right? Because just like we human beings, we are always connecting. And you can see the snow leopard, doing the same by leaving all these marks in their territory. Whether it's a spray or leaving their cheek hair, as if these cats are trying to communicate with other cats in this big, vast, and empty landscape.
Out here, dinner looks like this. The screw-horned wild goat known as markhor, along with other mountain mammals. Hussain says that without top predators like snow leopards, these prey species could explode in population, numbers big enough to throw off the entire landscape.
The rangeland might be degraded, overgrazed. That would then trigger soil erosion and land erosion, and in mountainous area would trigger landslides.
But snow leopards and other predators also take advantage of easier prey at the expense of local communities.
अभी तक कुछ मिलते हैं।
This video taken by a local man in a nearby region shows the devastation this can cause.
काफी जानवर मरे हुए पड़े हुए हैं।
These predators really brings a huge economic loss for these people. So then they retaliate by attacking and killing these predators.
As an environmental anthropologist, Hussein has learned that in order to protect animals, one must first listen to the needs of people.
Their main demand is that if we think that these beautiful predators are public property, then state and public should do something about the cost that these animals incur. Since 1999, we have set up close to 20 small micro-insurance programs where local people get compensated for their losses.
Building predator-proof enclosures also helps reduce attacks on livestock.
Ultimately, you can manage animals, but unless we get the human equation side right, it's very difficult to sustain any conservation effort in the long run.
Snow leopards also face another long-term threat: climate change, making the ice retreat, destroying their habitat inch by inch.
We cannot ignore that our lives are intertwined with many other lives that exist in nature. We think that in our area, we can claim that snow leopard population is stable. I hope that in the years to come, snow leopard sighting will become a everyday phenomenon.
On another continent, another big cat is facing a similar conflict with its neighbors, with deadly consequences.
Lion killing is kind of weaved into cultural status. So how do we undo that?
Coming up, for one of the most significant lion populations left on the planet, enlisting the help of a secretive Tanzanian tribe could be a key to their survival.
This is a hope spot, an area of the ocean painstakingly preserved by men and women whose lives depend on it. Today, there are more than 130 hope spots around the world. Thanks to Mission Blue, the organization founded by explorer and marine biologist Sylvia Earle, they are multiplying. From the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, from the Antarctic to the Pacific. We support this initiative because we know that our survival depends on the ocean. Safeguarding its fauna and flora ensures the future of our planet and makes it perpetual.
Sunrise on the edge of Ruaha National Park. Here in central Tanzania, livestock is life.
Our tribe believes livestock is part of the family, and we cannot live without them.
Another day brings another deadly threat. Stefano Asicheka is part of the Barabig, a little-known tribe with a long history with lions.
I grew up in a family of nomads. We lived amongst lions throughout my childhood, and I learned how dangerous they are. In our tribe, our customs and tradition raised us to have pride in killing a lion as a young man. And we are made to believe that once you kill one, it at least reduces the threat.
Traditionally, young warriors like this would gain rewards and status from killing lions. Part of the Lion Defenders program, Asicheka is showing them ways to protect the tribe while preserving the pride.
Lion defenders work in the village areas, and their task is to survey the borders early in the morning for lion tracks and to inform elders of the safety grazing areas.
The Lion Defenders are part of the Ruaha Carnivore Project, founded by Amy Dickman in 2009. When she first came here 4 years previously, things were bad.
It was the highest rate of lion killing that had been detected in East Africa in modern times. Lions have disappeared from over 90% of their historical range.
She said she had to work hard to gain the tribe's trust.
It was extremely difficult because everyone said to us the Barabeg will not engage with conservationists. And for sure, the first 2 years, people refused to engage. We said, we are just here to find out why you're killing these lions, and if there's a way that you could achieve whatever you achieve through it, through conservation rather than killing.
And eventually, persistence paid off.
They really opened up to us, and since then, it's really been a transformative relationship in working with them for conservation. But we certainly know that the lion killings have decreased by over 70% in the core area that we're working in.
Rather than offering compensation for the loss of livestock, here the project offers financial incentives to protect lions by funding community services like education, doctors, and vets.
We'd love to collaborate with you guys because they need.
Dickman and her team have joined forces with other conservation projects in Kenya and Zambia to form a larger nonprofit, Lion Landscapes.
It really can be a way of uplifting people and making sure that wildlife is a way to get people out of poverty as well.
Asicheka also gives tours of the park to help his tribe see wildlife from a new perspective.
Many people love seeing animals. Even the locals who used to hunt them want to see the lions. They feel a sense of ownership and get to understand the right reasons why we are protecting lions.
Our guest editor, Shafkat Hussain, says that here, once again, listening to local people is key to conservation.
Amy has done a wonderful job by incorporating, local people and asking them how to, resolve this threat that lions face.
Lions also face a wider threat: poaching. It's a global industry with a devastating impact on big cats around the world, especially the endangered Indo-Chinese tiger. Up next, this country is fighting back.
Africa Avant-Garde, Saturday on CNN in association with Access Bank.
Welcome to The Lead. We begin with breaking news. The United States has plunged into a recession. We're seeing infections at an all-time high. What's your reaction to that? Here are the facts.
The Lead. I'm Nick Payton-Walsh, outside of Kharkiv, Ukraine, and this is CNN.
You can help the refugees from Ukraine. Join the over 80,000 who've already raised millions for food, shelter, and more. Explore cnn.com/impact. Click to take action.
I'm David Culver in Beijing, and this is CNN.
This lush tropical forest canopy in northwest Thailand is hiding a rare endangered species. It is one of the last bastions for the Indo-Chinese tiger, poached to the brink of extinction for their fur and use in traditional medicine. This iconic species has all but disappeared from much of its range. Almost everywhere, in fact, except for here. Hue Ka Keng Wildlife Sanctuary is part of Thailand's Western Forest Complex, almost 7,000 square miles of protected jungle, fertile ground for tigers. And Porngaman Jamborong is on their tail.
This is the tiger track, so I'm doing the measurement to make sure this is real tiger tracks. I would say this is a healthy one adult tiger.
Another way to track them? Follow your nose.
Basically, tiger will spray to mark their territories to tell other tigers this is their homes.
Jamborong works for the Wildlife Conservation Society, a nonprofit that partnered with the Thai Department of National Parks, Wildlife, and Plant Conservation in a project training park rangers to reduce poaching here since 2005. Together, they have developed the Smart Patrol System. It's a combination of boots on the ground, camera traps, and data collection to monitor signs of wildlife and potential threats. Armed and trained in self-defense, these park rangers are prepared for encounters with poachers. And unlike other protected areas in Thailand, there have been no incidents of poaching here since 2013, according to the Wildlife Conservation Society. They've used camera traps to open a window into the secret life of tigers, and found that numbers have more than doubled here over the past 15 years to over 60.
Yesterday.
And this watering hole deep in the forest has become a day spa for tigers. Somewhere to rest, relax, and rendezvous until they eventually make room for some other forest residents, like the Asiatic black bear, Asian elephant, and wild boar.
Tiger is the top predator of the food chain in ecosystem. So if we are successful in conserving tiger, that means we can protect many other endangered species.
And as Jamborong says, big cats need big food.
For one adult tiger, it needs at least 50 sambar deers a year to feed them.
2022 is the lunar year of the tiger, marking a deadline set in 2010 by 13 countries to double their wild tiger populations. These efforts show that with the right tools, success is possible, says our guest editor, Shafqat Hussain.
The case in Thailand shows that if you empower rangers, you can significantly reduce poaching.
For example, Hue Ka Keng right now, we are the biggest home of Indo-Chinese tiger population.
So while the tigers worldwide face an uncertain future, these cats can relax, at least for now. But not all big cat habitat is so well protected. Coming up, the survival of the jaguar in Belize could depend on one tiny corridor of forest.
The last remaining gateway for those animals.
Now a coalition of conservationists is mapping out a plan to protect it.
been building avatars since 2016. So I would say we haven't been chasing a moment. We've been building for this moment for quite some time and really studying, I think, the younger demographic and really where they're trending towards, which is really trying to express an authentic version of themselves. So, you know, I've always felt comfortable behind a keyboard, right? So if I was in school, when I was growing up in middle school or in high school, I would be kind of nervous to maybe talk to a girl, or I'd be kind of nervous to go, you know, show off in front of friends or communicate with friends or whatever. But as soon as I got home and I got into AIM and I got behind my username, I became the most outgoing and gregarious character that there was. You're able to create this manifestation of yourself in this very fantastical art form. So we hope that avatars can be that safe haven that allow you to express yourself from every different segment of your imagination and serve as your emotional surrogate.
He's interviewed 5 U.S. presidents, authored 7 books, and has an independent voice that resonates.
What happened to when we were united against a common enemy?
He's raw, unique, and one of America's most important talk show hosts. Watch Smirconish, Saturday on CNN.
Growing up surrounded by forest in rural Belize, Reynold Call heard stories of an animal, sacred and fearsome.
I'm a Kekchi Maya, one of the 3 Maya tribes in Belize. So I would go in the forest at a very young age, and when I saw those big jaguar tracks, it usually gave me a fear in my heart.
Now Call's job is to track and protect these animals.
These are ancient Maya drawings. The jaguar is the symbol for strength and might.
It's a passion that's more than skin deep.
These tattoos are from actual jaguar patterns. This one is from a jaguar that we call Romeo. It has a heart shape. It's part of me now.
Call is the manager of Runaway Creek Nature Reserve in central Belize. It's part of a crucial wildlife trail called the Maya Forest Corridor, which connects protected habitats in the north and south of the country. Corridors like this offer a lifeline for far-roaming jaguars to more prey, mates, and territory. Today, Cal's working with Emma Sanchez of Panthera, a global wildcat conservation organization, and they are on the prowl for jaguars. Conservation experts say that jaguar populations are declining across their range from Mexico to Argentina. But not here, says Sanchez.
We consider Belize a stronghold for jaguar population because they're found in all of the protected areas and even outside the protected areas. Right. So I'm gonna aim it towards there.
Panthera has tracked their presence using the usual camera traps, but also with GPS collars. Only after they've been tranquilized, of course. It's a process not for the faint-hearted, but it provides valuable data and samples for genetic testing.
Populations of wildlife need genetic diversity to be able to survive. You get that by having mixing of jaguars from the northern part of Belize with jaguars of the southern part of Belize. And that means that wildlife need to find their way through that tiny sliver of forest.
Once surrounded by jungle, the Maya Forest Corridor is now a bottleneck, less than 6 miles wide. Over the past 10 to 15 years, biologist Elma Kay has seen much of the forest chopped away.
Imagine you're getting squeezed on both sides, right? It's mostly due to large-scale mechanized monocrop or agriculture that's taking place. The last remaining gateway for those animals.
Kay has been working with a coalition of local and international supporters to buy up patches of Belize for conservation.
We are here at the Cox Lagoon wetland, which is actually a very critical and important part of a 30,000-acre parcel of land that we have just purchased to protect in perpetuity for the people and government of Belize.
Thanks to this effort and existing conservation sites like Runaway Creek, Kay says just under half of the Maya Forest Corridor is now protected. She is hopeful that one day, this whole precarious patchwork of jaguar habitat will be safe from destruction.
Hope is the last thing to keep you standing. We have to get up and do the things that we want to see happen.
Big cat conservationist and our guest editor for this show, Shafqat Hussain, says a joined-up approach like this can have real impact.
Ultimately, what you really need to protect is the habitat. And if the habitat is there, then the animals will be there.
My hope for Belize's jaguars is that they survive so that our younger generations will be able to appreciate them.
Those younger generations will inherit a changing world, one where human adaptation remains key to all of our survival.
Humans need to understand that we share our space together with other wildlife.
I think a real adaptation is needed at the level of our thinking.
I always remain hopeful that, that we can effect change.
The health of our planet and these magnificent creatures depends on a new vision. So changing how we see and protect these big cats could offer us all a glimpse at a better future.
Call to Earth, in partnership with Rolex and their Perpetual Planet Initiative.
I am Fahad Hamiduddin, the CEO of the Saudi Tourism Authority. I think if you think of travelers in today's life, they want to immerse in what's authentic. I think people are less looking for, the same old in every place, and they want what is authentic. And I believe that's on us. There are strong commitments that Saudi Arabia is making, like committing to 30% of its land to remain reserves, to rewilding over 21 species, including the Arabian leopard. Or when it's designing its new projects like the Red Sea Project, we're keen to make sure that regenerative tourism sits at the heart of our master planning and product design.
Have you heard it like this?
Let's untangle the players and political forces.
Fast-paced news from the perspective of The Global Brief with Bianca Nobilo. Tonight on CNN.
When you travel the world, make sure the world travels with you. Check in, log on, and get connected with all of the latest developments at your fingertips. CNN Partner Hotels. Connected to your world.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
Egypt was once known as the Hollywood of the Middle East, with its renowned movie industry.
The classics of the Egyptian cinema is amazing till now. You wouldn't feel the difference between the Egyptian movies and the American movies in the 50s.
A golden age filled with glitz and glamour.
For years, it was the only cinema, Arab cinema, that would travel.
Women are playing a pivotal role in the industry.
Women were the real pioneers in Egyptian cinema.
Standing on the shoulders of those before them, Egyptian women continue to make a mark, telling their stories and blazing the way forward in film.
This is where we're shooting now, and this should be my apartment, and it should be a very old apartment.
Legendary actress Yusra is Egypt's leading lady. Her career spans nearly 50 years and shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. She's on the set of her latest TV series called Sweet Dreams.
Are these real antiques?
Of course not. Bonjour, Aouni.
The new Ramadan series is a comedy about an upper-class antiques collector who goes blind. It's a challenging role for her.
Comedy is much more difficult than tragedy. Really? Oh, yes. I can make you cry in a second, but I can't make you laugh from your heart.
Yusra started acting at the height of Egyptian cinema in the 70s. Her career rocketed to popularity in the late 80s and early 90s. Having appeared in more than 80 movies and dozens of TV shows, she remains a household favorite.
Come, but it's a little bit dark. It's okay.
But at the start of her career, the idea of women working in film was not approved of by some.
I was about 19, and I was very young, and I remember that at the time I was living with my father. So when I said, okay, I want to act, he said, what? I'll kill you. I said, why? I want to act, it's a job.
The stigma dates back to the 1920s, when the industry was new.
For the society in general, being in artistic fields, that was taboo, you know, and you have loads of stories, for example, during the early days where men, very rich men or aristocratic men were in love with, you know, dancers or artists, and they would never say in public that they married them. There are loads of stories like that.
Despite societal pressure, women started expressing themselves through film. Pioneers like Aziza Amir, Fatma Rushdie, and Assia Dagher, just to name a few.
They were very courageous because at the time it was a shame to work in cinema in the 20s. So they had to go out of their way and to say, I want to be an actress, I'm going to be a producer, I'm going to be an actress, and I will be. It was a conservative society at the time, but after a while, in the 30s, in the 40s, it began to be, they were overwhelmed by cinema.
Yusra looked up to the women who paved the way before her. They were idols who became her greatest teachers.
They were amazing, they were top-notch. These were one of my favorite photos with Yusuf Nabil, and he is very well known all over the States and Europe.
Photos pepper the walls as a visual timeline of her career.
Let me show you some. This is my mom, me and my mom in one of my sets. When you succeed, you make them respect your work. Now, if you ask anybody in the street, what do you want to be? I wish I'd be an actor. I wish I'd be an actress. Now they see us very highly.
Flipping through pages of memories is just a glimpse of Yusra's love for cinema.
I have to admit that I was very lucky to work with all these ladies. and to see them and to live with them. The legendary Fatin Hamama, Shadia, Madame Nadia Lotfi, they made my success.
Now a legend herself, she's on a mission to pay it forward.
As much as they, the old legends and stars, have helped me in my life, I owe it to the new generations. 80% from the new generation, they worked with me. I played even a tiny role in their lives, which is important.
She's committed to helping new talent.
What I would like to have my legacy look like is that I did change things into better.
Up next,
I think this is one of the best things happening now. You have all these platforms to show your things.
New streaming services are opening doors for Egyptian talent.
コーヒーの持つ力って人と人をつなぐ力だと思ってて、うちの会社のビジョンっていうのは日本のコーヒーといえばフィロコフィアってなることなんですよ。からそれを達成するには世界に向けた通販が必要だったんですよね。
Nothing is ever given to you in life. If you want to be a great businessman, you got to put in the work. And the same applies to survivors of trafficking. My name is Given Kachepa, and I'm now a dentist in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in Zambia. We grew up very poor. I was trafficked into the United States by an organization known as TTT Partners in Education. The mission of the organization was to go to African countries and bring kids to America to sing in churches. We were singing in malls. We were singing in schools. So the ministry had different ways of making revenue, and yet those of us that were singing were not receiving a penny from that. My dental practice is based here in North Dallas. We've been here now 5 years. It's been an exciting, wonderful journey. My goal as a dentist in the future is opening up clinics in Zambia. We have 2 of them that we've built from the ground up. And being a business person today, I just cannot foresee a situation in which I would work somebody without compensating them for the work that they're doing. It's important to me that we all try to get along and make life a little bit easier for each other.
Driving through the streets of Cairo, it's clear the TV and film industry is thriving. Ramadan is the busiest time of year. During the holy month, families gather around TV sets to watch the latest series. And there's more variety with the growth of streaming services in the region. One of the most anticipated this year is a popular remake called Suits, based on a Western TV drama about a top corporate law firm. Reem Mustafa and Tara Imad are among the star-studded cast, landing the leading female roles.
I play Layla. It's the role of Rachel Zane.
Tara plays a familiar role on the show, the same character previously played by Meghan Markle before she married a real-life prince.
Everyone keeps asking me, oh, you're going to be marrying the prince. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, but it's funny. Like, if I have a coin for every single time someone asks me that, my piggy bank would be full.
The challenge in this role, different than anything else, is it's usually hard when you do a format, because usually, and especially a successful format, when you feel you will be compared with someone else, it comes here, the challenge. Not only in the characters, it's in the project itself.
Now with an Arab adaptation, Suits was popular for much of the last decade on American cable television.
The adaptations, I think they're fun. I think it's just absolutely normal to have like Arabic adaptations of American series or British or even Spanish. And it's interesting because when you watch the original and then you see it in your own native language and you see it in your own, like mixed with your own culture, it has a different spice to it.
Egyptian cinema is now reaching more of a global audience, with streaming services becoming a popular way to view Arab content, giving Arab women in film a larger platform as well.
I have been noticing a big change in the industry where it's giving more space and giving more areas to fulfill for women.
Things have changed because you are just aware of everything around you in the world. It's not like before. We are now connected to all countries.
This is a fantastic exposure. We've always suffered, even the biggest directors, they've always suffered that their films were not shown in the US, for example, but always in a niche platform.
In 2020, Netflix released Paranormal, the service's first original Egyptian series.
طب ما أنا كمان بشوف حاجات تانية.
Since then, there's been a rise in even more Arab shows.
This is a revolution. These platforms are extremely beneficial to the industry. You can watch a film on your phone from a certain platform, from your home, from wherever. It doesn't matter where you are. There's this argument, is the cinema going to die or not because of the platform? I don't think so. I think the cinema will remain a cinema, and the platform is a new outlet.
All the newness that's happening in the Arab cinema, we're just scratching the surface, and there's so much more to explore.
Next up,
I love working with women writers. I think it's very important to get women's perspective in filmmaking.
Women share why collaboration is so important in the industry.
Our mission here at CNN and journalists, the news comes first. That's when your heart beats a little bit faster.
More breaking news that we are following right now.
You really work as hard as you can, getting the facts.
We're learning more about our alleged plot.
It is critically important.
To our viewers in the United States and around the world, welcome to the Situation Room. We have breaking news.
Africa Avant-Garde, Saturday on CNN in association with Access Bank.
We're in a village of Beni Salema. We're shooting the last day of my latest series, and this is supposed to be a shrine that our main actress is coming to pray. So this is the shrine here, and we have what's called a moulid, and we're recreating that.
And action! Director Mariam Abu Auf is calling the shots on the set of her latest project. Daughter of the late Egyptian actor Izzat Abu Auf, the film industry is in her blood.
I was acting for a short while, but I'm very shy in general, and I like being on the other side. So that was the first inspiration to the arts, is acting on stage.
She would later find a passion for cinema working behind the camera and becoming one of Egypt's acclaimed directors. She's known for truth-telling films with original narratives.
I love stories about real people that are depicted with real feelings and all the details, and when the filmmakers behind and in front of the camera believe what they're doing and do it with passion.
Her latest venture is a series about a doctor who falls in love with a belly dancer.
It's a very fun project. It's very different than anything I've done. What I love doing the most is pushing the boundaries. I don't like to be stuck in what everything is doing. What I also like is to have the dialogue be very natural. I rehearse with my actors. We get the most natural dialogue to get to the point of the scene.
She's been pushing boundaries since the start of her career more than 20 years ago.
I wanted to become an academic until I graduated and started working for the Cairo Film Festival. I thought I want to change Egyptian cinema. It was very difficult to make any change through the political road. So that's why I thought through film, at least I can show or tell what's wrong with the society.
In a society and industry dominated by men, she's forged her own path as a female director.
I think in general, women and filmmakers, they have to work more to prove themselves. So at the end, what you get is better filmmakers, better writers, better actors, simply because we need to work much harder to get to where our male colleagues are.
For years, women have been underrepresented in Egypt's film industry.
The majority of movies are made by men, and the majorities of writers are men, and directors, the majority are men. So it's important to get women's perspective in filmmaking, simply because we don't get enough of it. So I love working with women. It's a different perspective, it's a fresh perspective.
Women are finding solutions to get their voices heard. And one way is through collaboration.
Hi.
Mariam says the TV series Leh La is one she's most proud of. It's a telling story about adoption, a taboo topic in Egypt. A collaboration with two female writers, renowned screenwriter Mariam Naoum and newcomer Dina Nigm.
The project was, a group of women working on the project, which is very exciting, and it's nice to share experiences and to share knowledge and to share emotions and feelings too. My experience with Mariam Waouf and Mariam Naoum was really amazing because they're super empowering, okay? So they trust you, they listen to your input, they take everything you say into consideration.
I think it's extremely important to collaborate. It gives much better results to collaborate because you have all these energies coming together to produce something together, and this is much stronger than just one person working alone.
We cut to this shot. And then we come back here with the crane.
Mariam surrounds herself with women on most projects.
طب play again. أيوة. So do you agree that we should start with Abu Sahar, not before? The only problem is we have the voiceover, but it can be on the intro.
It can be on the intro, and the intro has to be shorter.
Shorter, definitely. I like to have women on my team. I don't want to generalize, but from my experience, I think women have more of the attention to feelings. Of course, they get women more.
Working together as a collective voice, bringing a different perspective to the silver screen. Up next,
I wanted to tell this story in a way that it can inspire, other people, especially children, to pursue their own dreams, but at the same time to break stereotypes about women.
One filmmaker is going beyond the film to create social change.
Afghan women are afraid that this is the beginning of your efforts to erase them from the workspace.
It's not clear. Even if we appear with the burqa, maybe they will say that women's voices are forbidden.
Did you ever imagine that you would be prevented from going to school?
Girls' education is fundamental to the dignity of Afghan life.
Do you believe that young girls will be allowed to go to school here in Afghanistan?
It's just after sunset in Cairo. A local weightlifting gym fills up with a young audience for a movie screening. They're watching Lift Like a Girl, a coming-of-age story about Asma Zabiba Abbari, a young Egyptian girl aspiring to become a professional weightlifter.
What I really loved about the story is that it's about pursuing your dream, no matter what, and pursuing it against all odds. What we see in the film, Zabiba overcoming all the stereotypes, overcoming all the obstacles, overcoming the training conditions, overcoming the limited resources, overcoming everything.
Writer and director May Zayed is hosting the night's main event.
She overcomes a lot of stuff in the film to eventually be able to grow up as a person and as a weightlifter, of course. So that what really attracted me to the story in the first place. And of course, the fact that she's just a young girl doing all that, it is something that I can relate to as a woman. Most of the time, filmmakers always want the audience to come to their films and watch their films, but they're not really thinking of going, to their audience. I really wanted to go to the audience that I feel they need to watch the film.
It's all part of her strategy, using film to create social change.
I've been working on an impact campaign on how to use the film as an educational tool for kids. And that's why we have decided to edit a shorter version of the film. We do not just screen the film and just leave. We organize these workshops to inspire them to pursue their own dreams, but at the same time to raise awareness about gender equity, to discuss problems like gender bias in language, basically to tackle all the themes that we see in the film.
هل لعبة كرة القدم للولاد بس؟
May believes these workshops are where her work has the most impact. With playful games, May's team is showing kids how to think differently about girls and sports.
It is hard for some kids to talk about these things. When we were creating the toolkit, we were discussing how can we make the workshops that we're organizing a safe place for all kids to participate and to share their ideas, their dreams, their hopes, because we're going to villages in rural areas where some of these kids never really had that experience before. Like, no one ever asked them, what's your dream? What do you want to be? Like, what do you think of weightlifting for women?
Using her film, May wants to break down gender and social stereotypes, one child at a time. Changing the status quo also means shifting cultural language.
We have sometimes these phrases that are so embedded in the culture that, for example, if you want to say that a woman is good, you tell her that she's like a man. So we have designed some activities to explore these themes with kids and to have them think of other phrases, for example, that they can use or adults can use.
May spent 4 years following Zabiba as she trained in a makeshift gym in the streets of Alexandria.
I wanted to tell this story in a way that it can inspire, other people, especially children, to pursue their own dreams, but at the same time to break stereotypes about women